my name is Kong Tao. I'm a sound engineer and filmmaker based in Southwest Missouri. And today I kind of want to go over my audio case that I've had for several years now and the upgrades I've done since my previous video. First off, the case itself is a Pelican IM2400. It is a wonderful case and it's definitely worth the money. It has gone through quite the battle and wars of the film, so my labels here is kind of peeling off. I need to put a new one there. You know, you see scratches here and there, but it's protected everything that's been in it and it's worked great so far. But when you open it up, that's when it gets interesting. Right off the bat, you'll notice there's no pick and plug foam, there's no actual dividers, and there's more custom made stuff here. So on the outside, we have track packs, and then we have two dividers in between. And that's all I used. And honestly, they don't give you enough track packs, but then like in my case, I kind of didn't want that many because I want to utilize layers, right? So in a little bit, you know what I'm talking about. But before we get to this side, which is the interesting side, let's talk a little about the right side here. Right here, I have a phone strap for the arm here. Because the way I do sound mixing, I'm a one-man band, so I carry the bag and boom at the same time. And my recorder I use is the Zoom F8N, and it's able to run through Bluetooth, so I run everything through my phone. I can change levels, I change the metadata, the name, scene names, whatever like that. And it's just more convenient that way instead of me looking down and guessing where the button is sometimes. Also, I'm able to actually monitor my levels as I'm holding my boom like this. I can look like my levels of everything. And I think it's a super efficient way of doing it. People might have their different ways, but I found that to be my best way of doing it. Under that, we have my receivers and transmitters. I have two Sennheiser G3 units. I've marked them red and blue just so I can know which one's the difference. They are different frequencies, so it's pretty important that I get that correct. Then I have my old AVX wireless systems here. These, they've done great for me when I first started doing productions, but now I've like graduated to electrosonics now. So I have the Electros UM400s, and those are wonderful. I bought them used, but they're like basically brand new. They've been great for me. Honestly, I would like, smaller transmitters, but obviously that's more expensive, so I don't have the money for that yet. So I'm still saving up. And the AVX systems, I barely use them anymore. They're just absolute backups if I need them, or if I want to try to create a camera hop, that might work well. But so far, it's been Electros and the Sennheiser units that's been my wireless units. Under that, we have my shock mounts and some foams for my microphones. I have the Rode shock mount, and I have a Sound Guide Solution quick release here on that. And I also have Rycote's shock mounts, which it doesn't have that because I use this more than the Rycote. They both work essentially the same. Now on this side over here, this is the main event. On this section, we actually have two layers because I want to utilize all the space of this. And I've set this kind of for the things that I would actually grab a little bit more slash less. It's ironic because I have to use everything within this case. But then I have my Rode NTG1 on this side, my Rode NT5 here, my Octava mic here, which this isn't really good anymore, so I'm going to be retiring this custom foam case here. Then I have my PS1A here if I want to go wireless boom. And then I have my wireless Go's here. And then my Tentacle Sync E's here. And I have a little screwdriver. This is for my electrosonic units here. And then I have my SMA cables for my electro units here. They're both different sizes because they're both different blocks. This part here is all custom. The foam, obviously I had someone else do it because I can't cut for myself. But then the drawer itself it lays on, I 3D printed everything of those, and it just slips out like that, like so. And you can push this aside. Then we have more stuff on the bottom here. We'll go from the top left here. First, I have my Reco stickies. I have this little case here to keep them all in. Then I have a dedicated trash can bin here because I've been on too many sets where I just had no trash can. So I just created my own trash. Obviously, that's not for big stuff. That's for like little stuff here because, you can lose them real quick and I don't want to be littering on sets. And this section holds a lot of my tapes, my mic clips, my mounts, my windscreens, whatever I might need on set. This little section here was just extra space, so I created this 3D printed little divider here just so it doesn't smash whatever I put in here, so these don't move around so much. And I just threw my tapes in here, 2 different types of tapes. This is, I think, Durapur tape, and this is Top Stick. And then my battery section here, I have my 9 volts here for various units, mostly for the electrosonics. Then I have my AA's, which is for, like, obviously the Sennheisers. And the way I've set this up is, if you see the contact points on the 9 volts, if they're facing up, that means those need to be charged. And if they're facing down, that means those are good to go. And I used to do the opposite for the AA's, but my sound utility people, they kept getting confused between the two, so I just kind of kept the same system. So I put the negative side up when they're charged, and when they're not charged, I put the positive side up. Just like so. Now the Lav system is still the same. If you watched my last video when I explained the case last time, it's still the same type of situation here. But I've color coded it now, and I have different mics obviously because I have electrodes now. So I have the B6s for TA5s from electrodes here. I have 2 B6s for 3.5mm for Sennheiser. I have a white and a black one. Then I have W-Lav Pros here, which the mount's still on that. And then I just threw these 2 in, which came with my Zoom F2. I just threw them here to kind of utilize the space a little more and have some place to store them. And the way I've set this up is, the reason why they color coded is, like, the yellow means, you know, they're good to go. There's a mic in it. You can use it. Then once you do use it, turn the case upside down here, and it's on the left side, and it's red. So I know instantly that mic's being used. So I can just, like, look at for a different type of mic if I need to. But let's talk about the actual design. So I probably spent a whole week designing the size and the height of this section here. On the Lav section, I made this a little too big. I think I'm gonna reprint it so the walls are a little thinner for the dividers here. But so far it's been working great. It's just kind of, it utilizes too much space, so I kind of want more space, so I can kind of put my finger in between, grab from the side if I need to. But the height of all of these dividers are the same, and I ensured that there was enough space to create a second layer up here, and there's enough space to actually utilize this top drawer type system that I wanted to create. Let's talk about this top section real quick. So this custom foam here, some of these units here, they actually lay in the foam, like all the mics, my pad here, and all, like, of course, the screwdriver and the SMA antennas. But then these sections here, they're a little too deep, so I just had them cut right through the foam, and it just sits right onto the actual 3D printed shelf section here. So if I take them out, you'll kind of see the bottom here. And if I take this out, you actually see the surface of the shelf itself. The shelf itself is created out of 4 different parts glued together that I 3D printed. For those OCD people, this is not equal cubes here. This is actually the width and the length of the actual shelf is all different. But I did divide it so it's all the same. So like the length of this is the same length of here, kind of, but then the width is different. You know, I kept it symmetrical as best as possible. I was just kind of working within my confines, and this is the best way I could do it. And I 3D printed these little sections here so I could tie a little strap onto each so I could lift it from the actual case itself. And if we turn this around, you can see we have like random 3D printed flat areas here. I just super glued them on there just so it'll stay together. And when I made the strap holders on the side here, it kind of helped the stability of it a little bit more. Now all these measurements were very precise. Originally, the thickness in which I have the bottom of the shelf here with the glued on 3D prints, that was the original thickness. But then I thought to myself that I won't be able to glue it onto itself because it's so thin, and I tried it and it doesn't really work well. So I just cut that layer in half and just 3D printed like the sections to glue them together. I was afraid at first because I was like, it might not be strong enough, but then I thought more about it and I was like, I'm not lifting a lot of heavy stuff from it, so I decided to just keep it that way. Unfortunately, because my Octavia mic doesn't work that well, it still works, but then there's like little clickings you can hear because I dropped it a while back, so it's not that great. So I'm going to be using that for like my streams or whatever, and I'm going to be recreating this foam here for probably different uses. My PS1A, it might not be this foam anymore because I don't think I'm going to be using it as much as I thought I would. Also my pad, so I might be changing things up. I might be adding another NT5. I kind of want to put my NTG1, my NTG3 in here, just because it's been living in my blimp the whole time, and I kind of wanted to live in here more rather than my blimp. So the material I used to print out all the 3D prints was PLA. I was thinking about using PETG because I do have that as well, and it's in black. But then I thought to myself, PLA will be cheaper, it'll be a good start, and if things don't turn out well, if they warp too much or if they like kind of break in heat, then I will go to PETG. And so far it's survived this long in heat. My case has been out in the heat, like 90-degree weather for extreme times, and in my car as well. And the only warping I've actually seen is actually this right here. I don't know if you can see it, but this 3D print has warped a little bit, which isn't a big deal because this isn't designed to be perfected and to like kind of hold things. It's just there to kind of to change things, and I'm gonna reprint that part anyways because I want thinner walls. I am extremely proud of this case, and I'm super happy that it turned out as great as it did. I would love to do this with other cases, and I would love to kind of design stuff for like my monitor's case, but even though it utilizes the whole space already, so it's a little different situation. But I would like to try and see where it'll lead me. The only thing that I don't want from this case anymore is the actual storage spot for my lid here. I mean, I use it and it works right now, but then I don't like the lid, the storage itself. The mesh system is weird to me, and it just seems like it could break any time. So far right now it's fine, and my audio case is okay, but I think I could store more stuff if I actually had like little plastic pouches that will Velcro on it, and I can actually take it off the lid and actually like look for stuff instead of like doodling around. Right now it'll work fine and it'll survive. My case here is not going to change anytime soon aside from the custom foam like I mentioned earlier. So one reason why I wanted to create this case was because I was getting more and more stuff into my audio arsenal, right? And my lid was becoming top heavy. Every time I would like take batteries out of the bottom section of my case here, it would get lighter down here, and like it's easy to tip over. So the way to combat that was for me to actually put the batteries in the bottom shelf and actually like have most of the weight on the bottom here, just because it would help stabilize the case when it's like when the lid's up, and you know, I won't have to worry about it falling, because it's falling sometimes and it's not pretty. Also, 3D printing was a great idea because I kind of want to design things that kind of fix issues that are very rare, you know, for customized things, and this is definitely one of those. If I just got the Trek packs and then I just threw it in, you'll see how much space it takes, and they won't utilize all of it. Actually, the Trek packs kind of forced me to do it like this because I was wasting a lot of space, right? So I was like, wait, if it's only that high, I can create a second layer. So that's what actually drove me to create this specific system the way it is. And you know, it's great. I mean, the Trek packs was, you know, it costs money, but that was the only real expense from creating a custom case here, aside from the money I spent last time. So I think if there's one improvement that I can do next time, it would be to actually have like round corners for the prints, and on the edges, on all the corners really, just so it'll be a little smoother when I go in and reach for my stuff. I'm still learning all the 3D design and stuff, and I'm using Tinkercad, which it doesn't really exactly do round corners. So I just kind of did square real quick, and it worked out fine for me. If you can see here, this is a print that was originally printed for one of those, but then I think I measured it wrong, or either I just printed random sizes because I did a lot of those, because I actually have a few of these, and I decided to not use this because it wasn't fitting correctly for what I needed. So I just have, you know, a bunch of these extras which I'm probably gonna give away to people who want them. But that's what I'll do differently next time, and hopefully I'll learn for the next case build I do, which I don't know what it might be. I have a lot of stuff now, so organizing is like, it takes a long time, and 3D printing takes a long time, so I don't know what's going to be next for an organized Pelican type case. So I hope you guys got something out of this. This was a really fun project. It was kind of not stressful, but it's a lot of thinking. So if you want to get into it, prepare to think a lot, prepare to calculate, prepare to get measurements correct, and prepare to actually like the metric system, because that's way better than Imperial. I'm sorry, I said it. But I'm not the only one who thinks that, so. But hopefully I have a cool project like this in the future, so I can create videos like this for you guys. And hopefully I can create just more videos in general. So I'll see you guys next time.